All right, Stephen Thiel, VP Product, ATAK Interactive. What's happening, buddy?
That's going well. How about you?
Good, good. So today we're going to talk about the RevOps agency. Okay. And we recently did a presentation on this for a bunch of CMOs in a convention in Texas. And the general thesis of what we were saying was like the former B2B marketing agency has evolved into the RevOps agency. And we talk about RevOps all the time, breaking down the silos between sales, marketing, and customer success. What we don't talk about is how within that whole process, sales seems to still be doing what they've always done. Customer success seems to do what they've always done. And then marketing is like, well, hey, figure out these new technologies, make sales operations and marketing operations speak to each other. And thus, we now have the RevOps agency. So I always like to challenge myself. What is the big difference in the evolution between, let's say, the B2B marketing agency of the past and the RevOps agency of today?
Yeah, I think the B2B marketing agencies of the past were definitely focused more narrowly on like specific services. You're offering, a paid search as a service, paid social as a service, SEO as a service. And hey, those agencies still exist and they have their place, but as, mid-market to enterprise level companies are evolving, the marketing team is the one that's being asked to take on the blunt of that of all this work. Like you said, figure out the technologies, get the CRMs implemented, figure out where do we use data enrichment. How do we how does everything speak together? What APIs do we need? Like that all kind of falls into the marketing team a lot of the times, and the agencies that are keeping up to that are having to evolve into that RevOps mindset and not just look at marketing, even like specific services in a silo. You need to look at holistic marketing strategy. How does that marketing strategy bleed into the sales strategy? How does it all feed into the overall company goals that we have for the year? Where does finance and customer success come into play? And marketing is often the ones who have to kind of figure that out, or they're at least the ones who are responsible for bringing the different stakeholders together to help figure it out. And that's where we're seeing many agencies evolve into more of the RevOps space, particularly agencies that are heavier, using tools like HubSpot or Salesforce that are built to accommodate that type of tech structure.
Gotcha. Yeah, I think that makes sense. I also don't know what it says about some of the preconceived notions about marketing, what they do and don't do. But I feel like if sales is always trying to bring on new customers, we're talking to prospects all day, every day, and customer success is keeping your current customers happy and supporting them. Marketing maybe is the only function that just had the capacity to go for the land grab, right? But it's also been the area that has always been focused on technology, right? As traditional marketing turned to digital marketing, and now, I mean, nobody goes to the sales department to ask about the latest AI tools, right? They go to the former marketing department. Some may have evolved to the RevOps department, and I think it makes sense naturally, right? Because the when marketing is really humming, in my opinion, at least on the B2B side, it's supporting sales as well as customer success, right? We always go down that whole attract, convert, close, delight funnel, right? So it's all about, what is it going to take to get customers to come into your orbit and love you so much that they stay forever, right? And so I think marketing has a little bit more, I guess, is more kind of in charge of the just operational evolution than all of those other departments. And I think we're used to having to roll with the punches. At least those of us who started in the digital marketing space. So, what is it about a RevOps agency that is far more powerful to a customer than your traditional B2B marketing agency?
I think honestly, it comes down to the consultancy part of that structure. Traditional, B2B marketing agencies, because they were, were servicing so many clients, running so many paid search campaigns, paid social. A lot of times it would niche down. It'd be more like robotic. They have a product that's easy to roll out and start trying to see, like, at least leads coming in the door. But their success was typically measured more in a vanity metric way. Like how many, cool, we're generating leads. Like we're doing our job. The campaigns are generating leads. And then as that has evolved, now it's cool. We're generating leads. Are they quality leads? Where are they hitting in the funnel? Are none of them converting? Or are they great leads? And now we're seeing the RevOps agencies that don't just focus on the marketing service line, in a silo. They're looking at that entire marketing to sales handoff process. They're consulting on best practices for moving leads through the funnels. When does it make sense to run, tofu, mofu, bofu campaigns? How do we help nurture leads so that they are qualified and so that they do close? And so not just offering a specific service line, but consulting at more of a business ops level of marketing to sales to customer success handoff, and honestly serving in that consultant role and telling, particularly in this case, say mid-market enterprise, B2B focused companies, this is how it needs to be. Like, this is the best path forward. We'll customize it for your business, but this is the best path forward to get all your tech speaking together, to get all your departments speaking together so that everyone knows where they kind of sit in the process. Finance is getting what they need. Ops is getting what they need. So it's definitely more of that consultancy level versus just, offering a specific service line and executing on it. It starts with that RevOps consultancy, building that Rev Engine Blueprint, and then helping execute on that blueprint.
Yeah, and I think it goes to something we talk about a lot, which is the ongoing responsibility that marketing has. That maybe it's because we're having to make up for our grandfathers' past sins on the marketing side, or it's just let's make pretty things and show up to a trade show and pretend we're the reason why people are going with us and not the sales team. Uh, but I think it marketing is just becoming so much more purposeful, right? There's so much more with attribution, and there's the data can show us so much more on the marketing side in terms of what's affecting actual revenue generation. And so it's an exciting time for marketers like us who've always cared about the bottom line, right? It's like, well, what have we been saying? You grow or we go for, almost a decade now, because at the end of the day, marketing should be getting results. There should be an ROI on any sort of revenue generating, um, you know, uh, arm of the business, whether it's on the sales side or the marketing side. So, um, where do you see the next evolution for the RevOps agency? I think, now where we sit, there's a lot of, work that we do in aligning sales and marketing functions. There's obviously an intense focus on the technologies that best serve marketing and sales departments. What's the next step in the RevOps revolution for the RevOps agency? I guess the RevOps evolution, I should say.
I mean, the two biggest use cases I think we're typically seeing right now is finance getting a lot more involved now. And now that they know that, the tech can support them being able to pull the data that they want, finance is wanting their tech to speak to HubSpot, speak to Salesforce. We're working a lot more with finance departments than we ever have in the past, which is awesome. It's great when they have a seat at the table because finance, of course, wants to, they want to be able to pull all of their revenue reporting in, but not just that. Finance wants to know, what's actually driving that growth, what's driving the revenue. And so we're doing a lot more consulting with finance departments and bringing them into, not just focusing on marketing, sales, customer success. Now it's marketing, sales, customer success, finance, and even opt in a lot of times if it's depending on the size of the company, and like getting everybody in the same room, ensuring that, whether they're using HubSpot, Salesforce, a combination of both, like typically there's always those third-party tools. Maybe there's a NetSuite, there's a QuickBooks, there's a different ERP, getting all of those integrated now so that now that's like the business as a whole can make everyone's on the same page. Everyone has the same data. There's no discrepancy. We know what's in HubSpot and Salesforce, and Salesforce to say NetSuite, it all speaks. And they can, it makes businesses a lot more nimble so that everyone that, can look at this, have more holistic, data boards to look at when trying to make decisions. And then of course, the always the hot topic is AI. How do you incorporate AI more into RevOps? Where does it come into play? Where does it not make sense? And really consulting on that, because on the marketing side, the agencies that are like, hey, use AI to write content all the time, like that's not the best decision. And there's CRMs that are implementing that, making it easier to use than ever, but we've seen the fallout of it. And so, like, knowing when and where AI makes sense and how you incorporate it into an overall RevOps strategy.
Do you hear that sound? That's the sound of millennials crying because they got into marketing after watching Mad Men, hoping to have the next great idea. And now they're trying to connect accounting tools to Salesforce and creating a bunch of copy that the robots are writing and just slowly dying a creative death. But hey, that's what happens. Things evolve, and you either look at it as an opportunity to be able to help customers get what they need and meet them where they're at, or you can stay stuck in your ways and do things the old way until nobody does them that way at all. So I'm very happy to be on this evolution and be a runner RevOps agency with you. And I love your insights on all this. Thanks so much, Stephen.
Perfect. Thanks.
That's it for today. If you like what you see, give us a thumbs up and make sure you hit subscribe so you can see our latest videos as soon as they drop. We really appreciate you watching. See you next time.